Good morning and welcome to our Wednesday show, Jour du Galop. It's Inside News. Myself, Mark Neisius. Thank you very much for joining us. It's like I said, it's our Wednesday show. We normally have we can talk about a couple of races and one or two incidents that happened last week, and then obviously my two to follow. A couple of barrier trials and then a couple of horses that I've seen in training as well. The show's not going to take too long. Let's start off with the sprint race on Saturday, the feature race, the Lightning Cup. Sort of principal sprint event on the island. And what can we say about Nottinghamshire? Wow, this horse has really done very, very well. He's had 3 runs this year, 3 wins, and it just looks like he's winning his races easier and easier, and he really is improved into a beautiful, well, not only a sprinter, he's as far as I'm concerned, he can go right up to 1400, 1500 this horse, and he's really done well. And like I said, 3 from 3. He's gone up 4, well, he went up 4.5 kilos from the last time he met the likes of Ernie and Charles Lytton, but he really won a good race once again. He was my choice, but I've got this bad habit of getting to race day and changing my mind. I've done it once or twice already this season. I really thought Nottinghamshire was going to be hard to beat, but when I saw Charles Lytton in the ring, he was my second choice. I went with Charles Lytton, and that cost me a little bit of money. I should have just stuck with my first choice, Nottinghamshire. Remember, this horse arrived in Mauritius off a 41. He's now a 67. I still don't think he's going to stop. I think he's still got at least another 1 or 2 races under his belt this season. And it's quite hard to believe that this horse started his career off in Port Elizabeth, one of our, well, it is in fact our weakest centre in South Africa. And they shipped him off to Cape Town, and he's really turned into a lovely horse. And he's obviously enjoying the Mauritian life, the island life, because he's, like I said, his wins have been very, very easy, and I don't think he's going to stop here. We're going to carry on following Nottinghamshire. I thought I'd give a little mention to my good friend Rajam Din. He's really been battling, and it's been quite a hard season for him, but he did manage to bag 2 winners on Saturday, which was very nice in the form of Blue Jeans and Spinner Coin. And then obviously for Keenan Stone as well, he's now had his first win. And I'm just looking at Raj's horses. He's relying a lot on his older horses, but he's got quite a nice couple of younger horses or new horses, fresh legs coming through. And I think that Raj is going to finish off the second half of the season a lot better than the first half has been. I wish both of them, Keenan Stone and Raj, all the best. Both these horses were at Poste Lafayette and Blue Jeans and Spinner Coin, and it just shows you how well that sort of that getting out of the Port Louis or the Floreal environment, getting down to the seaside. And 1 or 2 horses later on, I will talk about that, have been to the seaside as well. And I really think it's a big plus having the little stable in Poste Lafayette. Right, then I thought I'd just let you know, I'm sure you know by now, but Jami Ali Hussain has ridden his 20th winner on Moonrise Sensation. He now only claims 2 kilos, but I don't think that's going to stop the youngster. He's really riding on top of his game, and even that 2 kilos is going to help him as well. But nice to see the apprentices doing well, especially him and Brandon Louis. And I think we've got to give a mention to John Clate, who's doing an absolute brilliant job with the youngsters. And it's nice to see the young riders coming through the divisions, and looks like the youngsters have got sort of, both of them got quite a bright future for the rest of their career here in Mauritius. Let's hope they just keep going from strength to strength. Right, then some jockey news, some suspensions. Well, Akish Baloo, he got a 1-week suspension on Buffalo Trip. And then the new French jockey, Pasra, I see he also got a week suspension on his ride on Tangero. He caused a bit of interference there. In fact, I saw he was reprimanded and in and out the start stream quite a lot on Saturday. And I suppose he's going to have to get used to the track very quickly, otherwise it's going to get expensive for him. But anyway, he's had his first meeting. Let's see how he carries on for the rest of the season. And then Richard Mullen, well, I was unfortunate enough to be behind the stalls and watching how he got bashed around on his ride in the first race. And I'm very surprised that he got out there not as badly injured as he actually is. And I can tell you that Richie's got 2 swollen feet, and he's taken off a couple of days. He's hoping to be back at track tomorrow, Thursday morning, so that he can fulfill his engagements on Saturday. But like I said, not too badly injured, just hurt his feet quite badly. But they are swollen, but they seem to be getting a little bit better, he told me, and he's hoping to be back at track work tomorrow morning. Right, we'll stick to Saturday, and let's talk about my 2 to follow. And there's 2 horses that caught my eye. The first one was Wild Horizon. I thought he ran a cracker, this horse. He did make his debut on Saturday. Remember, he was supposed to run on the 30th of June, but he was scratched. And remember, this horse's best form in South Africa was over ground, sort of the 1800, right up to 2,400 meters. And he travelled beautifully for a horse that goes over a little bit of ground. He travelled nicely, and in the box seat behind Telbeck, and he battled up gamely in the straight. In fact, for a couple of strides, I thought he had the better of Telbeck, but I think just towards the end, his sort of match fitness, or lack of match fitness, probably got the better of him in the end. But now that he's had that one run under his belt, he's got some nice form, this horse, and I do think that Wild Horizon definitely a horse that we're going to have to keep an eye on. He really ran a good second behind Telbeck, and I thought it was a very, very good run, and I'm expecting a lot of improvement from him as well. Right, and then the second horse I wanted to talk about was Soet Wes. I thought also excellent run behind Nottinghamshire. Remember, he was drawn 9. I thought the young rider gave him a very good ride. He was caught wide up that backstretch, but he managed to ease him and get him into a nice position. And I just thought he was caught a little bit flat-footed when they quickened up. But he really did some good work at the end, and he only went down 3/4 of a length to Nottinghamshire. And I thought it was a very, very good run. And I think I would like to see him stick to the 990. And I think that in his sort of class, he could be a big, big runner next time. Just like Wild Horizon, if you go back to his South African form, he's got some very good form over the sprint distance. And let's hope that Soet Wes has now found his best form. And I'm sure it won't take long before he wins his first start here in Mauritius. Right, well, that's the past. Let's move on to the future. There were 4 barrier trials. I just want to talk about 3 of them, because the 4th one, all 3 horses have been racing, and they all had to be repassed. So I didn't think it was worthwhile mentioning that barrier trial. But let's talk about the ones that, the couple of new horses. The first barrier trial was Bono from Simon Jones Stables. He had the green jacket. Sea King from Jean-Michel Henry, he had the red jacket. And then Varadiso from Patrick Mervyn's stable. You won't see him in the barrier trial because unfortunately he didn't jump. And Bono, just like Simon Jones has got Bono Vox, he's now got Bono in the stable. And he's got decent form over sprint in Johannesburg, this horse, and took a while to win his first start, but when he did, he went and won 3 races quite quickly, all over sprints, and as a late 3-year-old and an early 4-year-old, and he could be quite useful in the 990 based on his South African form and in fact on this gallop as well. And then Sea King with the red jacket, Jean-Michel, said this is a young horse and he's got some very impressive form in South Africa, and his best run was on the 30th of July last year when he ran behind that horse eyes wide shut. In fact, his last 3 runs in South Africa were all in feature races, and he looks like he's a very, very nice 3-year-old. In fact, well, I suppose he's not going to be a 3-year-old much longer. Remember, there's only about 2 weeks remaining before these horses all turn a year older. But I think this horse really looks like a nice horse in the making, and he's a little bit highly rated. Well, when I say highly, he is quite highly rated off a 51, especially being a 3-year-old. But he's obviously above average, this horse, and it's going to be, I'm looking forward to seeing this horse make his debut. And then Varadiso, well, unfortunately, I don't think they're going to get this horse right. Once a horse starts refusing to jump, and it's very, very difficult to get that out of their heads. Horses with sort of soundness problems, you know what the problem is, you can work it out, but the ones with the mental problems, they don't want to jump or don't want to load, they're very, very difficult to get right. So I don't know what's going to happen with the future of Varadiso. Right, that was the barrier trial, or the first one. Let's talk about the second one, where you had Xanthus from Raj Ramdin stable. Like I said earlier on, he is stepping out some of his new horses. He had the yellow jacket. Wolf of Wall Street, Simon Jones, he had the green jacket. And then Silver Rock, well, he is being repassed once again, because as you know, he's been quite a handful at the start. So anyway, Xanthus, well, he's a maiden. He went to Cape Town. Well, he started off in Cape Town, then they sent him off to Port Elizabeth, where he ran a very good second. But remember that Port Elizabeth form is not very strong. And I thought his barrier trial sort of impressed me. And I went back and looked at his form, and I see back in his form there's 2 very good runs that sort of caught my eye. One was behind Zodiac Jack, who needs no introduction to Mauritius. And another one was a decent run behind that was Tapper North, who ended up winning the Guineas. And he's a very, very highly thought of 3-year-old. In fact, I think he was the 3-year-old of the year in Cape Town. So he didn't finish far behind that. Also, maybe there is something there from Xanthus, but I'd probably like to see 1 or 2 runs before I can sort of make judgment on him. And then Wolf of Wall Street, well, he's a 4-year-old maiden, and he's only had the three runs. Once, I think he was placed 4th in both of them, but I see last time he was reported to be striding out a bit short, and that probably explains why a 4-year-old's only had 3 runs. He probably could have a couple of soundness issues, but I have to say he looked pretty good in the barrier trial. He seemed to be striding out quite well. So let's see how Wolf of Wall Street fares as well. And then Silver Rock, as I mentioned, he galloped again. He's just being repassed, and obviously doing a lot of schooling with him and trying to sort out his problems behind the stalls. But not like Varadiso. I think the handlers are winning the war with Silver Rock. He's sort of loading much better and jumping quite well as well. Right, then the third one was Very Vari from the Amwasa Doyle stable. He had the yellow jacket. He was trying blinkers. The Byzantine from Patrick Mervyn. He had the blue jacket. And then Dickie Bird from Pritam Davies stable. He had the green jacket. Right, let's talk about him. Very Vari. Well, like I said, he's trying out the blinkers. He's improving with every run this horse. And I think maybe the blinkers is going to do the trick for Very Vari. I see he's rated 26 and he just hasn't dropped that 1 point to 25, although he probably still could get a run in a 0.25, but in a 25 he's confirmed a run. I'd like to see him in a 0.25, especially with these blinkers, and he won the Gallop quite easy, even though he got a crack with the whip, but sometimes trainers ask their jockeys to do that when they put the blinkers on, just to give them 1 or 2 little smacks behind, just to let them get their mind onto the job, and he won the barrier trial quite easily. Then the Byzantine, well, he was ordered to repass, so after his first barrier trial, remember I did say he was pretty green. He was a lot better this time, and I see he was placed a couple of times in South Africa over ground, so let's see him when, also rated 26, but let's see how he fares. But only once he goes over a little bit of ground. Looks like he's looking for that ground. Then Dickie Bird, well, this horse was bought as a 2-year-old, hence he's only rated 25 because he is a one-time winner. And I see he won that second start of his very easily. He's only had this 2 starts. But then I went back and looked at that form, and one thing that sort of worries me is the fact that not one horse out of the 11 runners in that field has come out and won a race. So that form isn't very strong, that South African form. He won his second start very easily, but like I said, nothing from that race has come out and won a race. So that is a little bit of a worry. But look, he is a young horse, and I would imagine there's a lot of scope for improvement from Dickie Bird. And let's see how he goes. He's only rated 25. He will be turning 3 years old on the 1st of August. So I would imagine the stable's looking for some sort of improvement from him. Right, those were the 3 barrier trials I wanted to talk about. Let's talk about some training work. And I thought this week what I'd do is I would concentrate on the horses that I've mentioned in my 2 to follow, just to let you know that I am following up on them. So there's a couple of them that I have mentioned in my 2 to follow. The first one I talk about is El Mariachi. He was one of my 2 to follows. And you remember that debut behind Answering Genesis was a cracking run. This horse has got cracking South African form, and he looks a lot better with that run under the belt. He looks a lot more alert and a lot fitter as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing his second run. I don't think this horse is actually a 990 meter horse. I wouldn't be surprised when he shows his best form over 1365 or a 1400, and like I said, I'm looking forward to his next start. He's working very, very well. Right, then another one of our 2 to follows was Blow in the Box. He worked with Overshadow, and well, he also made an excellent debut. Remember in that second leg of the 3-year-old championship, behind Why Wouldn't You, and I think Zodiac Jack was also in there. And just like Mariachi, he's come on plenty, this horse. He's really improved from that run, and I see that when he won in South Africa, he beat that horse Captain Ram, which obviously we saw our Captain Ram won his first start here in Mauritius. So he's obviously got ability, this horse. He's working very, very well, and I'm looking forward to seeing his next start as well. Right, and talking about Captain Ram, I thought I'd show you his work after that very, very impressive debut. He's a massive horse. He weighs 540 kilos, 548 kilos. So he's a big horse, and he looks like he's a machine. I think this horse could go on and be anything. He's a really, really nice horse. We also won his debut. He was well supported that day as well, so he's obviously highly thought of by the connections as well. And he worked alongside Impressed. Unfortunately, Impressed hasn't impressed anyone yet, but he is falling down the rating. I think he's gone from a 37 down to a 26, and he should be in a 0.25 soon, so he might be a little bit more useful in that sort of rating. But I really like the way that Captain Rum's looking. He really took his first race very, very well. And another horse that I'm really looking forward to see coming out next time again. Right, then we go to the Gajara stable, 7th plane. He was one of our 2 to follows. Remember, he's had the 2 runs, finished second in both of them, and I think he's been running in a lot higher class than what he's rated. In fact, he's carried 55 kilograms in both his starts, so obviously he's running in a lot higher class than what he's sort of rated to. He's run behind horses like Kara, Nottinghamshire. We saw Nottinghamshire come out to win again. So the form line has been franked, and I have to say he looks like he's in terrific form. This horse just has to regain that South African form of his. I think he has. I think it's fair to say that he has. He's only had the 2 runs for those 2 good seconds. And 7th plane, one of our 2 to follow. I think he's going to be a hard nut to crack next time as well. He did work with Friend Request. Unfortunately, Friend Request has had quite a couple of problems since his victorious debut. Remember, he has been reported to have bled, and he's been sore as well. So let's hope they've sorted out the problems of Friend Request, because I think he's a decent horse, but obviously he has got quite a few problems. Right, and then to Vincent Allen's stable, Cool at Heart. He was one of my 2 to follows after that excellent third last time behind Saint-Tropez. I think he needed that first run in the 3-year-old championship, but last time was a very, very impressive run. Remember, he's only a 3-year-old running against horses like Saint-Tropez. That was a very, very good run, and I just think that this horse is now fit. He's had the 2 runs under his belt. He's looking very, very good, and I'm expecting a good run from Cool My Heart. I see Cool at Heart, I beg your pardon. And I see that he is nominated on Saturday, so it'll be interesting to see if Richie Mullen is fit. I know his horse is fit, Cool at Heart, but it'll be interesting to see if Richie Mullen makes it for Saturday, because I think this horse is going to be a big runner in the race that he's nominated in. Right, then let's go to Raj Ramdin. Like I said, the stable is starting to pick up, and some of his new horses. And there's Gingerbread Man working with Beretta Bobcat, and once again another horse that made a very, very good debut. He finished 2.5 lengths off Chili Concane, who's been a very, very nice horse, and I thought this horse ran a cracker. In fact, I thought he ran a good race, but I think he ran a little bit better than what I thought. So he's obviously is a bit of a classy horse. Remember, he's a 5 or 6 time winner from South Africa. He's a nice horse, this, and it's nice to have Raj. Nice to see Raj have a nice horse that's above average, and I'm expecting a very nice run from him as well. He did work with Beretta Bobcat. Unfortunately, he hasn't really done much. In fact, his best run was over 1850 with the blinkers. And I'd like to see him back in that sort of trip, that sort of class, but very difficult to select Beretta Bobcat. I'd like to see him at least run a place or 2 before we can get too excited about Beretta Bobcat. But the work I wanted to show you was Gingerbread Man. I think he's taken his race very, very well, and I'm expecting a good run from him in his second start if he doesn't need that second start. Right, back to Vincent Allett, and we watched Kudu 2 work, and what we have to say, it was a disappointing run, second run, after that very good run in the 3-year-old championship. And like I said, it was an excellent sort of debut, and then last time he just let us down a little bit. But I can tell you, a lot of 3-year-olds run well first time out, they flatten out their second start. He's had the 2 runs under the belt now. I like this horse. It's just something about this horse. He always catches my eye, and he's a flashy looking chestnut horse, and I'm expecting him to bounce back, especially to that first run's form. And once again, let's hope that Richie Mullen's fit enough to ride him. I see he is nominated to run on Saturday as well. Let's hope he runs a much better race than he did last time. Right, and then I want to talk about Karari Secret. He worked next to Red Indian. I thought this horse made a very, very good debut. He was very green that day. He was drawn 1, but he ended up at the back of the field, and he was getting sort of shoved along most of the way by JP van der Merwe. But he finished the race off very well. He was very, very green on that occasion, and he looks like a sort of young, immature horse. But I think with that run under the belt, a bit of experience, I'm expecting a big improvement from Karari Secret next time. He did work with Red Indy, and just like Karari Secret, he just had the 1 run, and he was green as well. I'm expecting big improvement from him as well. Remember, he only finished 5 lengths behind Mamba's Rock, which wasn't a bad run at all. So both these horses, I think, are worthwhile keeping an eye on next time. And then back to one of my 2 to follows, and back to Raj Ramdin's stable. We had Blunderbuss working along Applejack, and remember Blunderbuss, as I explained to you before, he had quite a bad injury at Floreal. He came down to Post Lafayette. He spent quite a lot of time at the seaside, and it obviously did wonders. I thought it was a cracking run last time. In fact, Karari Secret was just behind him on that occasion, but I thought it was a very good run from Blunderbuss. He was really finishing off that race well. He's over all his problems. I'm expecting a good run from him. He could just as well be the next winner from the Raj Ramdin stable. And then Applejack, well, he's just left Post Lafayette, and I can tell you, I've never seen Applejack in the condition that he is in at the moment. He's really well. He really enjoyed himself at the seaside. He's back in Port Louis. There was very, very good work on Tuesday morning, and I'm expecting a very, very good run from Applejack next time as well. Both of these horses from Raj Ramdin stable. Keep an eye on them next time. I think they're worthwhile following. Right, well, that's our Wednesday morning show. Thank you very much for joining us. Remember, Friday morning on the mark, I think Shahil will be with me again. And we didn't have a bad day on Saturday. Let's hope we can have another good day this week as well. Catch up with us on Friday on the mark, myself and Shahil. Thank you very much for joining us. Goodbye.